So, how long exactly have humans been eating plants? When it comes to the origins of the plant-based diet, humans have been eating plants for basically as long as we have existed. So, in the prehistoric days, plants were the primary energy source for humans. And this was mostly made up of wild plants, including tubers, which are potatoes, seeds, fruits, and vegetables. So meat intake varied widely depending on geography and the season that people were in. It was also pretty tough for people to hunt game at the time because it was higher risk and lower reward because game was hard to hunt at the time. It also wasn't a consistent source of energy, and so that's why people mostly went to plants as a consistent source of energy instead. So that was the prehistoric humans that were mostly eating plants and whatnot. But then as we get to the agricultural civilizations, that's when we start to see plant-based diets really start to tick up in terms of how many people were actually eating plants. This started at around 10,000 BC. And this mostly happened because it became a necessity because of how many people were in these civilizations. So this is very common in many different civilizations in the past. So ancient Egypt had a lot of wheat and barley. Mesopotamia had a lot of barley. Ancient China had a lot of rice and millet. Mesoamerica was maize, beans, and squash. And then there's plenty of other examples of many other civilizations heavily relying on plants as their main source of energy. So while meat did exist, it was often rare, expensive, and mostly reserved for the elites. So normal people were not able to really eat much meat at all, if any. So because of this primarily led normal people to be eating legumes, grains, vegetables, and fruits. So again, eating a plant-based diet at this time was mostly based off of necessity. Then as we get to around 600 BC, that's when we really start to see people talk more about the spiritual aspect and the more conscious side of just eating plants and not animals. So when it came to ancient Greece, the first person to really start talking about this was Pythagoras at around 600 BC. This was primarily based around the fact that he believed that souls and reincarnation existed within animals. So avoiding meat was primarily based on spiritual purity and non-violence against animals. And then if we also look at another big civilization, we know that India is primarily a vegetarian-based country and civilization, and that is still the case today. And they also believed in many of the same things that Pythagoras believed in, meaning karma, nonviolence, and spiritual purification as it relates to the diet.